What is going on, everybody, and welcome to another weekly update. Now, last week we started off the week pretty crazy. We were down because of the Evergrande stuff. That whole issue is kind of shaken out. Powell's come out and said that it won't really have any kind of effect on the U.S. market. Being said, this does not alleviate any stocks, Chinese stocks like your Babas, your NIOs, and all those other different stocks out there, your JDs. Those particular stocks are still going to be affected. They're just traded on the U.S. stock exchange. So that's something to be aware of. Also know that today I was overheard that the EV sector in China is also going to be impacted by Evergrande. So if you are trading NIO, watching NIO, you need to be careful with that because of that fact. If it does belly up, that could lead to a huge financial crisis over there. It will not affect the U.S. market. We haven't particularly seen. What we saw on Monday coming in was the Evergrande effect because people didn't know how it was going to affect the market. It gave us a reason to sell, which we didn't have till that point. So I can see why we sold on Monday or last weekend going into this week. Ever since Powell, we've just been extremely bullish since then. He just, again, reiterated everything that he has pretty much stated, essentially greasing the skids that rates will not be raised until later next year at some point, and that the tapering will start at some point soon. Again, people think it's going to be this year, perhaps in November. One thing to keep in mind too is the FOMC meeting is they don't have one next month. So we will skip a whole month and we won't have another FOMC meeting until November. So we've kind of gotten a green light from this point. We still have to remember that the beginning of October is still very volatile, but right now we're seeing a lot of strength right now in this bounce back, which is good because we had a really good sell, which we haven't had in a while. It doesn't mean that we're out. We still need to try to attempt to get back up. But what we're looking at here on the daily, actually, before I get in this, I just want to go over the economic calendar for next week. Again, there's a lot of PMI stuff, and a lot of the stuff really does not matter, essentially, because of the fact that of what Powell stated over the past week, although you still want to look at jobless claims. Those are things that are essentially gauging what Powell is going off of. So it's something we need to keep in mind. We also got the Chicago PMI on Thursday. We got core inflation on Friday. So there is a lot of data coming out this week. Again, I don't really think it's going to be that dramatic. People kind of know where we're sitting at. And again, the only reason why we've had a lot of this stuff has had a lot of weight recently was because of inflation talks and everything going on and uncertainty and all that stuff. This is all typical stuff, so we just need to be aware that right now I don't think it's going to have as much impact. I think the only kind of data that's really going to impact this, if dramatically inflation gets way out of hand or there's something we haven't seen yet, it can change it, or if the jobless claims, right, or unemployment continues to not improve. If that is the case, then that all that really means is that they're going to prolong essentially the tapering, and if that happens, it just means growth and tech are going to explode from that point. And we've seen that, right? Today we had our Friday, making this actually on a Friday after the bell. So Friday, today we had Tesla, Google, a lot of your socials, Facebook started bouncing back. Snap had a huge day. So it's something to keep in mind going into next week. This is why I talk about FANG and why they are important, because they will lead the charge. Everything else will have some movement, but right now, with the way everything is going, we're kind of priming up for going into the next quarterly earnings. So this gave us quite a dip. Actually look and see what this is, because I haven't looked at this to see it just yet how much of a dip this was. So we had a 5.3% dip. That in my mind, I said we would have a diluted dip, and that's pretty diluted for me. I think at this point, we could start really running. We saw that in Tesla. Tesla started breaking out to some levels it hasn't seen in a while. So that's one thing I want to watch going into next week is to actually take a look at QQQ, but I do want to look at Tesla. We are coming into the trend. So we do come Monday, we do want this to break above. There was a lot of tech that was running. There was a lot of tech that was just stalling today. So that's something to keep in mind going into next week. Do those laggers start to pick up the pace? Does Tesla and Google start slowing down a little bit? Facebook has a lot of room to come back. So I think the news on that came out was the fact that the Apple ads that originally sunk Facebook aren't going to make that big of an impact. They hired somebody new today. I don't know who it was exactly, but nonetheless, it is. They're going to see change in Facebook like that, and started making a comeback. So Facebook is one of the ones I do haven't watched too. But Tesla, again on the daily, I think ultimately what I'm looking for here coming into next week is a 763 retest. On this, I would really like to see this come back down. It had, like I said, had a massive rip. I don't expect this to gap up on Sunday night and Monday morning. I think a lot of people probably are. I think we're actually going to come back and get a retest. A retest on this would be perfect for Monday. That's what I'm looking for. So again, around that 160 mark. You don't want it to flush back below this. It took us forever to get out of this range. So I think right now we're pretty much good. I think this could start really running. So I want to watch Tesla for Monday for sure. But the next one I have on here is Googl. Googl had another massive day today. I did capture this a little bit today, but I also got shaken out of this bad boy because it came back pretty hard, pretty fast. But nonetheless, we did break out. We came back and retested the 20 and started popping. I think on the daily, what I'm looking for ultimately here on the daily is we have this 20. So I'm looking for another, that's the daily candle. I expect another daily candle to open up here and retest back down to the 27.25 mark is where I'm looking at. Essentially, if it can go there, that's where I really like to get my entry on Googl, and then see this run back to possibly all-time highs. Again, we do want to make sure that this just isn't a higher high right here, and we don't sell off this weekend. Hopefully, it's not a bear trap with all the things going on with Evergrande, and we start selling. So it's just something to keep in mind. Monday really matters where we open up, if we actually start breaking out of these wedges or if we're going to continue to start selling. Again, there's no real reason to sell. Yes, we have all the China stuff. China actually banned crypto again for like the millionth time, and people just lost it and sold Bitcoin like crazy. So, but it's actually pushing back up here on Friday. Towards the end of the day, it started to, and then after hours, it is still pushing. So that is on a Friday night. So we'll see how that goes. Roblox is one I like on the daily. Again, support here, 82.87. One I want to see come Monday. We start getting a retest. As long as it holds this, I want to get back into this. I think we're going to do another ride back to 90 from that point. Again, going into the holiday season, I think this could probably possibly run even higher, especially going in earnings. I'm trying to look for earnings plays here. This still has a lot of room to run. And so that's what I want to look for on Roblox, is look for that retest. A lot of these are going to be retests on the daily. So it really depends where we open Monday pre-market. Sunday night, it really doesn't matter too much. If we gap down, we may start pushing, so we may miss our entry on Monday. But if it does gap up for some reason, I'm definitely looking for the pullback Monday morning pre-market. But the next one I have is SC. SC is another one I've been talking about pretty much all week. This one actually broke out, retested, started pushing. I want to see how this opens up on Monday. If we actually come back down again on the 20, I'm on this 34.50 mark. I'd really like to look for an entry here, possibly back to all-time highs. I think is a very good possibility. The market is looking really healthy. It's really strong right now. So it's just trying to get back in and then going into the holiday season rush here. So I do like SC for next week. TTD is the other one I have. This one is also one I've been talking about. I missed my dip here, but looks like we got the retest today. I want to see if this actually holds this 50 and the 20. So really, we don't want it back below the 75.34 mark. If you can, or yeah, 75.34 mark. If it holds that, come Monday, definitely look to take a position on this to try to ride this out as well. So I do like that. Docs is the other one I do have. Docs had a break here and a retest. I want to watch this tomorrow or on Monday and see if it holds this. One thing I'm a little concerned about is it still hasn't reached all the way down to the 50, which I think is still a possibility. So if it does break below this and doesn't play this wedge here and it gets down to the 80 mark, could be a good entry for a bounce. From that point, we want to hopefully break this 91 mark. But again, I think that's a good point capture there if it comes down that far, or you can either wait essentially for when it comes back down or retest here. We don't really want it below this 85 mark if we're going to try to take this back up to the 93 mark. But ultimately, if it does come back down, if it doesn't hold that, wait till it comes back down to that 50, does a retest there before it pops back up. But that is pretty much what I got for you guys. It's not a long video. We have, it's good to see everything is very strong, so that's something to keep in mind. We want to see where we go from this point, but ultimately we're looking good so far. Like I said, the market bounced right back. The Evergrande thing, I think, is just overrated right now. I don't think it's really going to affect us that much. We may not really know how much of an effect it has on us until this plays out a little bit more. But nonetheless, Powell said it wouldn't affect us. We'll see how that plays. We'll see how the market is. Again, the crazy dip last Monday. Hopefully that doesn't happen to us over this weekend. Maybe some more stuff comes out from China. We don't know. We have to see Monday pre-market how it's going to look. And also, too, if you've made it this far, I'm going to start doing morning calls here, possibly in another week or so. So every morning I'll try to go live and give a little morning recap of what I'm looking at. And then from that point, I'll stay on for about an hour before market opens, and then let you guys be. So if you made it this far, remember to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already done so. Until next time, I'll see you guys later.